everyone, welcome to ISSA Talk. If you've tuned in before, I may or may not be a new face for you, but I am your host today, Master Trainer and Product Developer here at ISSA, Jenny Scott. I'm so excited to be here with you today because I'm usually behind the scenes working on the certifications that you guys love and that you have been asking for. But today I'm here with our amazing guest, Claire Dorotic. Welcome, Claire.
Hi, thank you. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. So excited to have her. Such an interesting topic today. Claire has worked with clients of all levels and is even a competitive athlete herself. She's helped people achieve weight loss goals, overcome success barriers, and has truly transformed a ton of lives. So we're incredibly lucky to have her here with us today to talk to you guys about transformation, how it's so much more than physical fitness. Claire, are you ready to just dive in?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So my first question for you is, why in the world would somebody hire a transformation specialist?
Well, as I'm sure you know, weight loss is a really, really difficult topic for most people. And weight loss also has a really high recidivism rate. So what that means is people will try to lose weight, maybe it doesn't work, and then they come back and they try again, and it doesn't work, and they try again. And I always liken it to drug addiction because it's really normal for people to try several times before they can get sober. So whenever we have any kind of addictive behavior, it's really difficult to change it because there's so many things that fall into that pattern, internal and external, that we may not even be aware of. And so, I look at clients that would need a transformation specialist are those who have tried to change and it didn't work. And maybe they tried a few times and then they began to realize something else is going on here. I can't just learn new behaviors. I can't just learn how to work out. I can't just have somebody do a program for me and a diet. Something else going on that I can't make this change happen.
Absolutely. So it sounds like it's definitely something deeper. But what sets a transformation specialist apart from like a personal trainer, for example?
Well, a transformation specialist tries to help the client gain insight. So if I go to a personal trainer, I want them to tell me, like, look, here's the right form. Don't use your back, stand more like this, start with this kind of weight, here's your warm up, etc. If I go to a transformation specialist, I want them to help me look inside and figure out what is going on that is blocking the change I want. So, I think that a lot of times with personal trainers, there's also a power differential. We go to the trainer, they're the expert. We want them to tell us what to do. We want them to lead, we want them to give us directives, etc. When we go to a transformation specialist, we don't necessarily want a power differential because it's very hard to gain insight when somebody's telling us what to do. Directives sort of stop that process of introspection. And so a transformation specialist would sort of be a little bit more with us along the journey of figuring out what is going on with us as a trunk breaks. Interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that makes perfect sense. They just have different roles. They're looking at different things. So we just dove into 2021, hoping that it's a much better year in all aspects than last year, right?
Yeah.
How do you help clients set and work towards goals? But more importantly, how do you help them maintain their progress throughout the year?
Well, so motivation is comprised of three things: mastery, autonomy, and purpose. So if you want somebody to stay motivated, they have to have something they can master. And maybe that is mastering their own goals. Maybe it's mastering their behavioral change. Maybe it's mastering how to run and train for a marathon. But whatever it is, it has to be something that has two things. It uses their skill set, and primarily skills that they are good at, and it challenges them. And that's what keeps us going, because we want to see if we can keep doing these things. And then we also have to have autonomy. Motivation goes down the drain when somebody tells us what to do. So we have to be able to exert ourselves and sort of find our own way, kind of find our own journey, make choices about what works for us and what doesn't work for us, because this keeps not only the insight going, but it keeps us wanting to learn more. And then we also have to have a purpose, and that's like the big reason, the why. Why do we want to do this? It's really easy to say, well, I just want to get healthy and, it's good for me and stuff. But it's a really different thing to say, I don't want to die because I had a relative that died of heart disease, or I want to be around to see my grandkids. That's a different thing because it's very specific and it's very relatable.
Absolutely. So mastery, autonomy, and purpose. Now, curious, would you put those three in any particular order?
No, not really. Not really. As long as they're all in there, it's fine. I mean, some people like to start with the purpose, figure out the why. But you could also start with what is it that you want to achieve that you feel like, you could start to gain a little bit of mastery over.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Now, you mentioned behavior change. I love the concept of behavior change, but there's stages to this process, and they're really interesting to me. Walk me through the stages of change, like high level view.
All right, so there's 5 stages. There's pre-contemplation. So you and I are talking, and maybe you say, how about let's go run a marathon. We're just talking about it. We're not really sure if we want to do it. We're kind of talking about it. That's in the pre-contemplation stage. When we get to the contemplation stage, we're looking at all of the different training programs for a marathon. So, we have a 6-week program, a 12-week program. We have one that includes calisthenics, one that is on the track, whatever. And then when we decide, okay, this is the one we want. So this is the training program we're going to use, and here's the marathon we're going to go run. Now we're in the preparation stage because we made a decision. And then when we actually go do that work and we show up at the training program and we're doing it regularly, we're in the action stage. We're doing it. Now, once we have stayed in that stage for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, we're in the maintenance stage. We've gotten past the point where we still are wondering, do we really want to do this? I have to force myself to do this. We're past that point and we're just maintaining our behavior.
Wow. So there's a lot that goes into this. So like when somebody comes to you and says, I want to run a marathon, and they tell you where they're at in the process, do you immediately start breaking down these stages to figure out where they're at?
Yeah, because, if somebody says they're just thinking about running a marathon, you know, so the way that I would approach that situation would be different than if somebody said, look, I signed up for a marathon, right? If you signed up, we really need to work together to figure out what training program you want to use. So that's like really important. And that also tells me you're already past the contemplation stage. You're in preparation because you signed up. So that's like a big shift. If somebody is just telling me, I'd like to run a marathon, they still don't really know if they want to do it. It's kind of an idea in their head, and maybe you want to educate them about, it might take this long to train for it. These are the things that you can expect to happen when you're running the marathon. And so you want to do a lot of education and then just put it back in their lap. Say, well, it's up to you.
Absolutely. So what happens though, devil's advocate, what happens if they say, oh, I want to run this marathon. So they've thought about it and then they just start training, but they haven't looked into how to go about it. Like, do you see that happen a lot?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Some people completely skip the stage. That happens a lot, and you see it, you see that a lot with extreme personalities or extreme athletes, so for example, I'm an ultra marathon runner, and I've been doing it for a long time. And so if I want to go run a race, I am probably not gonna think about it, Frankfurt. So, I can Kingfors, for just I might just go, well, I'm just gonna go and not even train and just go run the race because I've done it before. So I haven't even thought about what sort of training program I want to have, or how many weeks I want to spend training, what sort of terrain I want to be on, if I want to incorporate any kind of strength training. So you see, people just jump into things. I don't know that it's regular, but certainly you can see that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, first of all, that you're an ultra marathoner, good for you, because I don't even run when being chased. I will sit down and scream while I die. But so, but when people skip stages, like, does that kind of mess them up? Do you find that they might come off track and you kind of have to then take them back to the stage where they think about it and put some thought into the process?
Everybody has a different learning process. And I think, part of that is failing. And so, look, it doesn't really matter if we go through all the stages in sort of a religious way, we're still going to fail at some point. Maybe we're going to show up and we're going to be in the middle of our marathon. We're going to think to ourselves, I don't really want to do this anymore. And if we just jump into it, we may also find that we end up hurting ourselves. So at some point, everybody's going to fail in pursuit of their goals. So I would say, it's mostly how we come back from those failures that determines how successful we ultimately are.
Absolutely. So on that note, I know you do a lot with like the mental aspects of, transformation. So if somebody is not in a great mental place, or maybe they failed a couple times at something, how does their mental state affect their physical outcome, their physical performance?
Well, one of the most important things that I can tell you about people who want to make behavior change is to first assess one thing, and that is their attitude toward it. So, if I have a client come to my office and they say, I want to lose weight, and I've been heavy my whole life, and I want to lose weight. The first question I'm going to ask them is, tell me what it's like for you to come here. Because what you're going to get is all of the assumptions, all of the biases, all of the reasons that the client doesn't feel like they are like you. And if you're not relatable to the client, it doesn't matter what you say, because what they're thinking is, this person's not like me. They don't know me. They might as well be from another species. And so it's our attitude toward the change. If we look at it like, it's something that I like being challenged. I like finding out what I can do, or no, I don't like being challenged. I don't like pushing myself. Whatever it is, our attitude toward that change, or toward that training program, or toward our goals will determine what we do. Regardless of our conscious behaviors or our conscious thoughts, we're always going to come back to our attitude toward it. If I think to myself, I'm not a runner, I'm never going to be a runner, it doesn't matter how much I train, I'm going to have to come back to that place to eventually overcome that resistance.
Absolutely. So that sounds like a life lesson. Attitude is everything.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And the other thing I would say is, most of us are not aware of our biases. I've had clients come to my office and, they would say, well, you must only eat spinach.
Oh,
Thank God I
geez.
had some M&Ms with me, and somebody shared some M&Ms. And I was like, look, this is what I run my races on. I don't know why, sometimes you can go through 18 different types of food to try and figure out how you're going to run 100 miles. For whatever reason, M&Ms are perfect for me. I'll eat that the whole race. And they think, my God, I had no idea that people can be healthy and eat M&Ms. That's like crazy. I thought you were like, eating grass or something, wheatgrass. And so, there's a lot of assumptions that people make, especially when they've been a certain way their whole life and now they want to change another way. And they start thinking, oh my God, I have to be completely different. I have to do all these things. And it must be so, so challenging. And sometimes when you just bring it back and you become human to them, no, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I eat way too much ice cream or whatever, suddenly they can relate to that. Yeah, I do that too. And now it's a lot easier for them to say, you know what, this person gets me. This person understands who I am. They're like me. Maybe they're not, they don't take this to the extreme that I do. Maybe they do other things to an extreme, but they're like me. And then it's much easier for them to see their way to change, because they don't have to become, quote unquote, a different person.
Yeah, they're just a different version, a better version of themselves, whatever that means to them.
Right, right.
Very cool. So if you came across a trainer who wants to work with people on transformations and transformation goals, what are a couple major tools that you'd say you need these in your toolbox to be successful?
Well, I would say the first one is to be able to help clients develop insights. So, a lot of times what we see personal trainers doing, and I have, is issuing directives like, okay, you're going to go and sing for, sing for, sing for, sing for us. When you do that, people, the first thing they do is they think, okay, well, I'm not doing this the right way. And this person is telling me to do this the right way. And so automatically they feel shame. When people feel shame, they go back into negative behaviors. So shame is like a switch that turns us back on, and we start doing the things that held us back. And so if you want to move past being a personal trainer and you want to become somebody who encourages transformation, I would say don't issue directives. Don't do that. Ask
Yeah.
your client questions. Ask them questions like, what are some of the things that go through your mind when you're thinking about whether or not you're going to put your shorts on and exercise? What's going through your mind when you're going home, you've had the crappiest day at work, and you're thinking about what's for dinner? What's going through your mind when you're thinking about that thing that you want to eat that you shouldn't eat? What is it like for
Yeah.
you to come into my office? What is it like for you to go to a gym and see all these people who look perfectly fit working out? Tell me what that's like. And so we get a little bit deeper and we go into the process with the client. So we're not afraid to say, I don't know what you should do. I don't know you well enough to know that. We have to get to a point where we know you better before I can tell you what to do. And a lot of clients, will kind of ask us, well, what should I do? What should I do? And the thing that we need to be aware of if we're in transformation is that's a setup, because that's a client telling you, I don't want to look in myself. I just want you to tell me what to do. And that's
Yeah.
what's called a second order change. So, we can do second order changes all day long. We can say, let me do these behaviors for a while, but they're not going to stick because they're not a first order change. And first order change are when we change our identity, who we are. I'm not this person anymore who has to be at the mercy of my emotions. I'm this person who feels strong, who feels healthy, and can overcome these things. So I
Absolutely.
see that as a
Preach,
major difference.
Claire. That makes so much sense because I'm a personal trainer and a sports conditioning coach, and I'm sure we're talking to a bunch of people who are as well. And we see people all the time who are like, "What do I need to do?" And you're like, "Do this, do this, do this, eat this," and then 3 weeks later you're disappointed because they didn't stick with it. I got goosebumps when you said that because that makes so much sense. And to ask questions like, "What are you feeling when you want to eat XYZ?" Because a lot of times it's not that you're hungry; it's that you have anxiety, or that you're upset about something, or you're stressed about something, and it has nothing to do with the actual act that you're completing. So that's huge.
Well, the other thing I think is, listen, humans are social creatures. So we evolve to have relationships that serve us a purpose, right? So you can think of all the people in your life and you can say, these are the people I go to when I want some comfort. These are the people that help me figure out what to do. These are the people that make me laugh, whatever it is, right? So for everybody that is having trouble with some sort of addictive behavior, if you follow that back, you're going to find a place where that behavior replaced a relationship, right? So
Wow.
that's when it wasn't okay for me to say, listen, I failed. It wasn't okay for me to say, I feel shameful. I feel like I let you down. It wasn't okay for me to say, I can't do what you want me to do. So at some point, for every person who has that addictive behavior, that substituted a relationship, right? So if you just tell them just stop doing that, they can't. You might as well tell them just live without an important person in your life. People can't do that. So you have to figure out where did that happen? Where something happened in your life where there was a relationship that was cut off and you filled it with something else. And we have to figure out what that need is. And then we got to go from there and we got to figure out how we can get that need met with other people, not things.
Yeah, useful relationships. That's cool. That's a great way to think about it. So I have one more question for you in this one today, Claire. So what motivates you to work with people that want to transform? How did you get into this?
Well, I started as a personal trainer like yourself, and I was working with a lot of clients, like anybody else, that they want to change their life, they want to get fit, they want to get strong, they want to learn how to run or whatever. And I was like most other, personal trainers, and pulling my hair out, thinking, why can't I get these people to change? What the heck's going on here? It's like rare. It's like maybe 1 out of 20 clients where they get what they
Yeah.
want, and you start really thinking after a while, what is missing here? So that motivated me to get more education, to go back to school and study psychology, get on a licensure track, eventually get licensed as a marriage family therapist, and really start understanding what happens with people when they want to make changes, because I didn't want to, I didn't want to keep feeling useless anymore. I really wanted to feel more purposeful. And then, of course, then when you learn something, you want to go for it, take for the same
Absolutely.
risk. So, yeah.
I love it, Claire. Thank you so much for all of your insight. I look forward to another episode with you where I can continue to pick your brain. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. It was really great.
Absolutely. Well, you have a great day and we'll talk soon.
Okay, sounds good.